Hey guys, welcome to Pretty Killer Podcast. I am your host, Jordana, and with me today, is the amazing horror author, Alan Shivers.
Hello,
Hello,
people.
babe. How
Hey,
is it?
nice to see you again.
I'm so happy to see your face right now.
Likewise, it's been a hot second, eh?
It has been. I have been seeing your face a lot, though, at your horror conventions, with your books, your horror trilogy, your Pia Halls, the
Hmm.
Namaste Slasher, and killer vocals. Oh my god, like your list already is chef's kiss. It's just you're hitting all the marks where slashers need to be.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I do my best.
Yes. Why don't you tell everyone who's listening a little bit about yourself?
So it all started when I was 6. I suck at this part, but let's see. So basically, I'm a slasher author from Brussels, from Belgium. I started as an indie author about 2.5 years ago. I published my first book, not even 2 years now, like a year and 8 months or something. I've always been a massive, massive horror fan, specifically slashers. So just the fact that I see the Halloween poster behind you and the Terrifier around us makes me very happy. Definitely our kindred spirits.
We
Uh,
are.
yeah, so I kind of wanted to get back to the 90s vibes or like late 80s vibes that I hadn't really felt as much. It's coming back
Mhm.
now, definitely, in film. Luckily, the Renaissance is happening. But
Yes.
when I started writing it, slasher wasn't that much of a big thing yet. The Halloween trilogy had just been released. The whole pandemic was happening. Was going through a breakup. So I kind of, made some time for myself. I thought, what do I really want to do?
Mhm.
I studied literature at university, so it was something I've always wanted to do, but never really had the guts to do, I guess.
Mhm.
And it started rolling very quickly once I made like the first draft, which was absolute shite of my first book. I handed it out to some friends, and they were like, "Yeah, there's a lot of potential," but then I started, doing rewrites, getting editors, proofreaders in, and it started flowing very, very organically from there. So yeah, I'm 5 books in now and writing the sixth at the moment. So, and absolutely loving it and very, very grateful that it has turned into a job as well, not just a passion anymore. So that's very
Yes.
cool.
Double fulfillment. Like it's crazy because for all of you listening, Alan was on like a year and a half ago, right when the book was coming out, and it's just crazy to see this full circle moment of you flourishing and doing your thing. And I commend you for having the guts to do your passion, because a lot of people don't do it. They're afraid that they're going to
Mhm.
fail. They're afraid that it's, there's not like a market for whatever it is. But you're like an inspiration, because
Oh, thank
do
you.
yeah, do what you're passionate about, and something will come of it, whether it be self-fulfillment or you absolutely killing it in the horror industry. So
Slay, slay. Yeah, it's true.
slay.
But I still get scared, to be honest. Every single book that that is published, there's always the self doubt. But I think it's a good thing because that way you strive to be better and get stronger. Learn from the feedback, the good and the bad, because you
Yep.
never, nobody's ever going to like it 100%. Some people will, but some people won't, and that's fine. As long as it's constructive criticism, I'm very happy to take it on board. But it's still
Yeah.
scary. I'm not gonna lie, because like even the book that I'm writing now is the sequel to Killer Vocals, which is like a
Hmm.
girl band slasher. It
Hmm.
was only published 3 weeks ago, so it's still quite fresh.
Okay.
But I'm going in a very different direction this time because I just kind of felt that I kind of needed to.
Hmm.
Also to learn it's becoming more dystopian. There's still slasher roots and elements, but it's very much of an underworld kind of slasher. So it's something that I haven't done and that I also haven't really seen not that much, at least in film. So it's still scary because people might go like, just stick to your slashers, boy, what you doing? But
This might be your Halloween 3. This might be something like kind
oh,
of, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not, because
the
I love
original, like Halloween ends. I hope not. No, no.
Oh my God. Absolutely. We do not say that word on this podcast, because that is absolute shite. That is absolute shite. But I feel like taking a risk and kind of like dipping your toes in unfamiliar water, but like going there, you might spark something that people never knew they needed.
Hopefully, the kind of one of the things I always try to do is like juxtapose or put two different elements or more elements together that I haven't really seen myself, like a
Hmm.
girl band with a slasher or the mindfulness retreat with a slasher, a namaste slasher, and it just really makes for like a fun, cohesive element sometimes. So
Absolutely. I love the two because you did Namaste Slasher, but they had that one movie that came out, Mind, Body, Soul.
I haven't watched that slasher.
It's like a found footage, like paranormal.
Ooh,
But I thought it was cool to see an incorporation of yoga because like you were taking the slasher intro to that, and then like they had the found footage like paranormal side, and I thought it worked, and I loved that they tapped into it because I'm for the culture that we're in and like nowadays, I would assume to see more like horror workout stuff or like
yeah.
Pilates or like mindfulness because that's what a lot of people tap into. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, same. Need to watch that one. I'm going to learn a lot this podcast, I'm sure.
I'll drop some good recommendations for you. But what was like your first, and I know like we discussed this in the previous episode, but there's been a whole bunch of new listeners. What was your like first introduction or like favorite memory of horror?
Actually, the first memory I think is when I still had broadband internet when I was about 14, 15, the entire
The dial-up?
Yeah, the dial-up. And I just remember having heard of I Know What You Did Last Summer and seeing these screenshots that would take forever to load. So you would wait like 10 minutes just to see a photo. And it was kind of these things where I saw all these different pictures. I wasn't allowed to watch it with my parents yet, so I couldn't sneak in or anything. But I saw all these photos of Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jennifer Love Hewitt, etc. And I kind of put the story together in my head. But then when I actually watched it like 1 or 2 years after, it was a completely different film. But I still remember like kind of making my own film out of those screenshots, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And then watching it and absolutely loving it, but it was completely different to what like 14-year-old me was imagining. So my first one would have been I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that's where my pen name Alan Shivers comes from. Comes from Helen Shivers, best chase of all time.
The best homage ever. Like I absolutely, it's so fitting, and I love that. Speaking of, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did you see the new trailer that came out?
The thing is, I really like. I was like, don't watch it this time. Don't watch it. I just couldn't not watch it, and I was absolutely squealing when there was a little photograph on the grave of Helen Shivers and Alistair Shivers. I was like, ah!
I know. I was like, rest in peace, Croaker Queen.
I know. The thing is, I'm dog sitting 2 dogs at my parents' place. They're still here at the moment. My parents, they're leaving tomorrow. So I watched it on like the big screen, big television at their place. My parents hate horror, and I was like, "Oh, I just really, really want to watch it." And then the moment Sarah Michelle Gellar popped up, I was just squealing. My dad going, "The hell?" You don't get it, but I'm sure you get it, right? So
I totally get it. Like seeing that was iconic, and then I will say I was like apprehensive of how I was because I'm not watching horror trailers this year. I'm trying to like remove myself from it, not have expectations, kind of going blind because I think it ruined it last year with the amounts of horror trailers that we got. But when Sarah or Jennifer Love Hewitt looked at the girl and she's like, "What did you do last summer?" or whatever she said, I was like, "Oh God."
Exactly.
Yeah, goosebumps. I was like, "Okay, I am seated. I am ready."
It was shot. It looks like it's shot really beautifully, and it feels like a modern interpretation of '90s. So I feel like it's just a trailer, of course, but the elements seem to be there, and it seems to be more humor than the original too. Because Scream at the time was way more meta humor. I Know What You Did Last Summer, not as much, but this one seems to have a bit more humor into it. I just hope it leans more into the slasher aspect, because lately a lot of slashers have leaned more into the comedy side.
Yes.
And it takes away from the scares for me personally. Maybe I'm a bit more old school, I don't know. But at times,
I'm right there with you.
You know, like you still want to be scared. I didn't sit down to watch a spoof like Scary Movie. I still want to go like, fuck.
Yes. And like grab an appendage and be like, oh shit. Like, yes.
Yes.
I'm glad that you said that because other than Terrifier, I don't need a comedy in horror. Like, I mean, some, yes, but I'm right there with you. I need some like intense chase scenes. I need brutality. I just need it all.
A good ensemble cast that you actually feel for. That's a tricky one too that you don't always get. You want to make sure that you feel not just for the final girl, but for the bestie, for the geek, whatever tropes or subverted tropes you have. That's my big one. I always feel more for the bestie rather than the final girl, because usually that scene has a way more impact, like the chase scene of Sarah Michelle Gellar in I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know, people keep saying like justice for Helen. I'm like, Not really, because if she had made it through, people wouldn't have always, commented years after still on that scene, for example, or like a prom night scene.
1,000%. I love that you put that in perspective that way. And you remember Mark? That was
Mhm.
yeah.
Like,
Yes, we were talking about that, and I was Mark. He's right. The connection with you guys with the Shivers, because he is like a Helen stan. But I just I don't know. I just watched an indie film called The Last Cabin, and the way that was casted, I was just instantly like drawn to them. So when you sang an ensemble cast and like, you know what I mean, like really caring for the characters, it
mhm.
sets it apart, because you can watch a movie and not even give a shit about who's on the screen. You know what I mean? But then when like you're invested in it's like people playing good characters and you feel that, it makes it even more either sad or happy for some.
Yeah, yeah. So what was that one about? Was it a slasher? Was it paranormal? The one that you just mentioned in the cabin? Was it? Oh,
The Last Cabin, and it's like a found footage slasher.
ooh, you've been into your found footage. It sounds like lately. You found your niche.
Yes, because you know how much I love my found footage, and I've been watching like a ton of screeners, which I feel like my 14-year-old self is like screaming on the inside, because who knew like I would get this opportunity? You know what I mean? Like to do this type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. But they did something. It was like lightning in a bottle. Like it doesn't
Mm.
happen all the time, but like the practical effects, the girl that did it, Tegan, it's almost reminiscent of Damien Leone.
Oh, okay, okay. Is it that
Yeah.
splattery too? Or?
It's not. It's like it's not super splattery, but like when you see the kills,
Mhm.
they're very like, oh, and you know like someone's really gonna get fucked up. And they
Yeah,
show just enough, but it's not like enough where it's like hostile, where it's almost like torture
torture. Yeah,
porn. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Mhm.
it worked very well, and it's releasing on the 29th. So if you get a chance, check it out, because
Oh
I
well, that's two films already. Okay, last cabin check.
we'll make a list for afterwards.
Please do, yeah.
But let's get back into discussing your books, because I really want to know like the process of writing, like what sparked, ideas for the books, like what were your inspirations for the books?
I guess it's probably a boring answer, but my own life, because for example, the first trilogy set in a boarding school in Brussels, and I have been a teacher at a European, not a boarding school, but a European school in
Mhm.
Brussels. It's very, very international. There's 183 nationalities or something. It's mad, and it's really fun to have all those kind of different nationalities and cultures in one group. And I learn a lot from it as well. So I'm not just teaching, but I'm learning a lot.
Love that.
So that was definitely like inspiration for European Halls for that trilogy.
Hmm.
Then just the things that I kind of missed, like I was talking about the chase scenes. I hadn't seen that many chase scenes over the last, except for like Your Next, perhaps, which is almost the entire thing is a chase scene. It's
Yeah.
also invasion, but yeah, I love that one. But other
Hmm.
than that, I was like, I really miss a good chase scene. So that's one of the core elements in my writing. Is the trickiest part to write too, because building up tension when you don't have music to help out, you don't have lighting or moods. If everything's on paper, it's not easy to write, and it takes me the longest, but it's the most fulfilling in retrospect. When you go like,
Absolutely.
ooh, that was fun to write, and you go, and people like the readers afterwards reach out and you go, oh, I was holding on to my book or I couldn't sleep afterwards, and you go like, yeah, okay, you did something, right? So
Succeeded. You're like, yes. And I love that, because I think people appreciate that. Like you can take a book and you can like, obviously it's the play off the mind, but when you really put in and from what you remember and what really stuck with you and what you want and like take from inspiration, it really enhances your writing abilities. And when I remember reading the first one, and I was like, okay, I'm tense, like
good.
yes, and that's exactly what I want. Yes. And I love that.
Yeah, that part for sure. Namaste Slasher. Again, I mean, a large part of my life is I'm not like how can I put it, super spiritual, but I am a spiritual person and I meditate daily. I've
Mhm.
gone on retreats as well, mindfulness thing, meditation thing, certain healing powers. I am very much open to that. So it was kind of fun to do self mockery, not take myself too seriously, and
Yep.
also this entire new age guru culture where everyone feels that they're specialized in everything, kind of. Uh,
Yes.
it was fun to mock that, mock myself again. I said fuck myself. All right, fuck the audience. We'll
I
get
mean,
to
some
that.
people want to hear about that. Yeah. I mean, there might be an
Yeah,
audience
yeah,
for
that's
that.
right. And then the girl band slashers, because I've been singing my entire life, and I was actually in the Belgian X Factor years ago when I was 20, 21. I went to boot camp and everything. I played violin.
Oh,
I
wow.
still sing now and then. I have like a little recording equipment at home. So it's kind of little different pockets of, I guess, the personality that you try to, yeah, you put yourself in there, not your own character, but your interests, your
Mhm.
background. I went to like music secondary school, for example, so it was very much things like orchestra, singing, choir,
Mhm.
solo class. So it was just fun getting different parts of myself and injecting that into the slasher realm, you know. So yeah,
That just like made me so like I love that you are incorporating parts of your life because I didn't know that you sang, and I love that because I can't sing for shit, but I mean, I walk around my house and I belt it out as if I'm, Beyonce. Like, I don't care, but it's so it's like I don't want to say self-soothing, but it's just like a release. It's
yeah.
nice to tap into that, and like musical instruments the same, and it's nice to know that like the books are reflective of what you enjoy, and then that you can also have a little fun with yourself and mock yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I think it would be more difficult if it were completely not connected to me in any way, or my relatives, or my friends, or it just makes it flows more naturally when I start writing.
Yeah.
If someone would tell me something that I don't have any connection whatsoever, I think I'll be able to do it, but it would take way longer, and maybe there would be less of an emotional attachment too, I think. So
1,000% because you'd have to like pull to get that
yeah,
stuff. And when you like truly love something, it just flows naturally. And I mean, like case in point, doing this, like I love talking to people. I love meeting people and connecting on so many levels. And look where it's brought us.
exactly. A beautiful friendship across the continents.
Yes.
So,
And I'm hoping that with your future endeavors that you'll be coming to the States and hopefully we can like actually give a real hug and hang out and have a drink.
absolutely. Hang out in New York, eh? I'd love that.
Yes, that would be
Mhm.
amazing. We'll get into the future endeavors in a little bit because I know that you have quite a
Hee
bit.
hee.
Yes, some secrets to tell, and I'm excited. I'm seated, and I think everyone else is going to be equally excited. But like, what were some of the hardest obstacles when you were writing? Like, did you come into any issues or any like just
Yeah, a couple of different things. I think the fact that I'm not a native English speaker, I mean, I've been learning English since I was 10 or 12, I think I started.
Mhm.
My mother tongue is Dutch or Flemish, whichever way you want to put it.
Yeah.
Then came French, then German, and then at school, English was the third or the fourth language. So it was one of these things that I know I'm not a native speaker, but I do, of course, have editors, I have proofreaders. But I think a lot of the times when I have these meetings with native speakers, that I still doubt myself, or that I still feel, perhaps, if I'm very honest, less worthy for some reason. Uh,
Oh,
it's one of the things I kind of have to overcome to kind of like I do think I've earned my spot within the indie slasher very very niche realm
yes.
because I've been working my absolute ass off, and I think anyone that does their best and puts their soul into something earns their spot. But there's still
Mhm.
these moments that I'm a bit like, oof, it makes me a bit nervous. I have to kind of get through that. I have some hiccups now and then, or I think maybe like a little expression comes through that's more Flemish or French or something. So that
Yep.
was one of them for sure. Like editors in the beginning, I mean, there weren't like massive mistakes, but little things like prepositions or specific word structure or sentence structure. I mean, that they would go, "Ooh, that feels a bit non-English."
You're like, sorry.
Yeah, but that's how you learn, and I think I've grown a lot through it. If I compare my latest book now to European Halls the First, I do think I've learned a lot, and it's the best way to grow, to be able to be vulnerable and say, okay, I know that I'm flawed and that I'm learning. Yeah, it's the best way to grow, I think. So that was definitely a big obstacle.
Yeah,
The self-doubt in general, this kind of thing where I think everyone always compares themselves to others. It's a very toxic trait that us humans have.
it is.
You could still be like number one, but then you think, oh, but this person was number one for way more weeks than I was, something silly like that. And
Yeah,
whichever level you get to, there's always going to be people that are doing better than you.
yeah.
And I kind of had to learn to let go of that too. And I'm at a point now where I'm very happy with what I've been doing and very proud of what I've been doing too. But it wasn't an easy, straightforward road to get there, to be honest.
I
Yeah.
know. I feel that like even in this in like just doing podcasting or like horror
Mhm.
accounts, I feel like they have tripled since I started
Yeah.
because so many people, and you know what? I take it as I try not to take it as a negative. I think it's great that people are expressing themselves and
Yeah.
putting
100%.
themselves out there because it's super vulnerable to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk about something and I hope someone cares about what I'm saying."
Mhm, mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I ran into those issues when I first started. I don't know if you remember when I told you, but I announced that I was gonna do my podcast, and then I literally didn't put out an episode for, like, 7 months. And people are like, "Okay, where is it?" And I'm like, "I'm scared." Like, I didn't even wanna do it.
Was that like a blockage, you think? Or
What was that?
was that like a blockage for you, those
Yeah, it
months?
was a huge
Mhm,
one, and then finally when I put it out, people are like, "It's great," and I'm like, the biggest sigh of relief, and, like, I still feel that to this day about like, just feeling like you're not adequate enough
mhm,
to be
mhm,
in what you're doing, but when you step back and you're thinking, "I'm doing this for me,"
mhm.
and truly, like, it's me that is the number 1 person, realistically. I mean,
Yeah,
if it
yeah,
wasn't, you wouldn't be doing it.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a healthier way to look at it. At the same
Mhm.
time, I always think like if we didn't have any of these feelings, we'd end up being very arrogant pricks, if you know what I mean. If we would
Yes,
go into this new realm and just be like, yeah, we're the best. I don't need to learn anything. Oof,
yeah,
God, like
got
fuck
it.
that. No, no.
And there are people that are like that, and, that's cool
Mhm,
to have such self-confidence. I never have that. Like, I always doubt myself in any regard just because
mhm,
you just don't know, but it's gotten a lot easier, and I feel
mhm.
like once you find your place and your people, the rest comes with it.
Oof, and that's definitely, I think we both know this in horror realm, in the horror community. That's
Mhm.
definitely the case. There's so many people that I've met. I've been so fortunate to have met so many people on different nooks and crannies of the horror world, and they've 99% have been awesome people. I think one of the things with horror is, sadly, but in a beautiful way, a lot of us have gone through trauma. I think that's one of the reasons that we are attracted to the kind of darkness and that we project certain traumas that we've gone through into horror, but in a safe framework.
Yes, yes.
And the moment that you start opening up about that a little bit, I've noticed so many other people going, yeah, I've gone through this, I've gone through this. Like I've been in PTSD treatment for years, for example. In the beginning, I was very aware of not showing that in my
Mhm.
work.
Yep.
But then when the first one did well, European Health, then in the second book, I was very much like, fuck it, I'm gonna be vulnerable. And I remember just having one day that I was writing for 3-4 hours, not taking a break. I was like, I really need to pee, but I'm gonna continue. uh, and there was this moment where I was started sobbing, and that I was very, very vulnerable, writing about all of the things that PTSD is really about, the things that people don't know about, or
Yep.
certain people know about. And then afterwards thinking, oh, should I keep that in there? Because this is very, very vulnerable. But then I left it in there. And that's when people started opening up to me and readers going like, oh, I have never seen or not, I haven't often seen portrayal of mental health awareness in this kind of way in slasher. So it's scary to be vulnerable, but the horror community is very, very welcoming, I think, and very warm and yeah, authentic.
1,000%. It's nice to know that people go through it. I mean, it's not
Mhm,
nice. I mean, obviously, like the stuff that we've gone through, wish it
mhm,
never, in hindsight, never happened. But I think that it really kind of either it builds your character, it makes you
mhm,
want to, succeed and to like not repeat cycles of trauma. Um,
mhm.
and it's but that was like my release was horror
Yeah.
for my trauma that I endured when I was a kid.
Mhm.
I like felt comfort in watching horror movies and I still like people are like it's strange, but it's not. It's very like it's like a warm blanket. It's like a hug for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think most people feel like that, and I feel horror is one of the most, how do you call that? Like either you love or hate it. There's not many people who are in the middle.
Yeah.
With action or superhero movies or something, you can kind of watch one, but you're not the biggest fan. Whatever. Horror, either people go like, no, I just can't, or
Yep.
they absolutely love it. And I do think that has to do with very often about things that we've gone through, and either maybe people that hate it have also gone through trauma, but they can't or they don't want to go there.
Mhm.
Uh, and for us who love it, maybe it's a way of we delve into that darkness and we know it's framed and it's temporary and it's a release, like
Yeah.
a healthy way. So
1,000%. And it's nice too to I'm sure it felt really good to have the outreach of people
Mm.
you know, saying like, thank you for putting that out there, because like that, you don't want to put too much, but I think people appreciate the vulnerability and just being so transparent with them, because it just shows that you're like a real, true human being with real emotions. And, you know, a
Mhm.
lot of people try to mask that and act like they don't need like a therapist, but I believe that every person should have a therapist. Every
Yeah,
person should have someone to talk
definitely.
to.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And in a way, in a very selfish way, how cool it is it, no, how cool is a bad wording, but you can just talk about yourself and you don't even have to feel guilty because, you know, usually things should be a two-way street. And I love having two-way street conversations. But
Mhm.
then with therapy, you can really just let go and not feel the guilt of like, oh shit, it's too much self-talk. So
Yes.
yeah, it's a healthy mechanism. I agree.
1,000%. I worked at an outpatient mental health clinic, and I didn't want like I didn't want to divulge anything. I was like, not gonna do it. And I kept my guard up, and then I sat down with my then boss, who I absolutely love. He's still like a mentor. I wish I would have went to school for psychology, but he
Mhm.
started like asking me questions, and I'm like, I'm like, you're not gonna get. Fast
Pandora's
forward like
box.
yeah, fast forward 2 weeks later, and, like, we're talking, he's helping me get through things that I didn't even realize were connected to, like,
Mhm.
you know, like, semi issues off of this traumatic event, and it's just, I don't know, like, I'm very thankful for it. So I try to be an advocate for, it doesn't matter if you're a tough, buff dude, you think that you got it all
Mhm.
together, whatever the thing is, talk to someone, get it out. Um, and
Yeah.
also, you know, like, and also too, I'm such an advocate for just being nice to people, because saying hello to someone, a smile could be night and day.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
love you
mean?
for that. Absolutely. It's such, again, you never really know what people are going through. Even if some people might go like, why the fuck is he smiling at me? The vast majority will still appreciate that like a little moment of kindness, right? So,
1,000%.
mhm.
Um, so I know we kind of like touched on chase scenes, but for you, what is an absolute like must, like the recipe for a good chase scene? Like what do you need in it to make it?
Mhm. I think, I don't know how you call this in English. I have a specific word in Flemish for this. We call it a tension bow. Like if you
Oh,
visualize it, you kind of have a bow of a buildup of tension, but it's not just a regular one. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It can't just be like you go from 0 up to 100. It needs
mhm,
to be like you have this moment where you feel safe and you're at 0, let's say, and then it slowly goes up. You feel like you hear something, a crack or whatever, but then you go, no, no, I'm fine. So it goes down again. And there's this gradual feeling of angst building, but a
mhm.
releasing at the same time. Because if you just go from 0 to 100, a chase scene would be too intense and it could turn people off too, I think. So it needs to be a gradual thing. Uh, Original setting helps too, like
Oh yeah.
specific. Yeah, I think the building in itself can become a protagonist. You know, little nooks and
Yes.
crannies. Lighting can become a protagonist in it too when it comes to film.
Not to
Uh,
interrupt you, but I remember with European Halls, I told you I love the description of the buildings, because your architectural descriptions set the mood for like, and even if it wasn't a chase scene, it just like put me to where the girls were. You know what I mean? Like it definitely helps. And I think your environment and your building structure is key. And a
mhm.
lot of people never mention that. And I love that you pointed that out.
Thank you, appreciate. Yeah, I think even for film in general, right? If you have these specific like these places where you normally you feel safe, but then it's subverted in some kind of way. Even with classics like Halloween, they're just like suburban houses.
Yeah.
Nobody would be like, "Oh, this is scary," but it's about the way that it's set up and just the fact that you're running from one house to the other at night. You know that something is twisted that feels so safe normally. I think that that's a
Yes.
good place scene. And of course, you have to feel for the people. If it's just a throwaway character, then you're kind of gonna be like, oh yay,
Yeah.
tense, but you don't really care, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I love that you pointed out Halloween, because when I was little, that's what scared me, because I watched Halloween, and we drive around the neighborhoods in Orlando where I lived, and to me it seemed like very similar to those neighborhoods. So I was like, is Michael Myers following us? And I like would get so
Ooh.
paranoid, like
Yeah,
just
but Haddonfield. Yeah.
yes. And I'm like, oh, I think I know that. How, you know, at being such a young age and like your mind and creativity, I was just like, or your imagination, I'm like, oh my God, that house looks familiar. I think it's down the street. And it just like instills this massive fear, like this could happen anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good horror in general. That's true. I think one more thing for chasings is there needs to be some sort of a hope, some sort of an almost release. If you even think of Casey Becker in the beginning of Scream, her parents, you see the cars, you're like, oh, we're getting there, we're getting there. I think a good chase scene has this moment of we're about to get there, but then crap, and that build up hurts even more that way, right? So
Like Helen
yeah,
Shivers. Mark did his anxiety packed chase scene the other day, and it was the scene where she's running through the alley. And I can't tell you how many times I watched that movie. Like, I wish that it would just change. Like, I just wish that there'd be an alternate ending, or like you could pick one or two where she doesn't
like a
stop.
video game,
Yes,
exactly.
and like
Right. Don't look at the fucking fireworks. I know.
just how like I hated that part because that glimmer of hope shattered my heart because I was like, she's gonna make it. And then when he got her, and you just see her like with the fireworks and the flash light bung up against the tire.
Yeah. Oof.
Like
Yeah, that's a painful. I also vividly remember the music in that one. It's very hopeful, that music. It's very pathos. All of a sudden it goes, "Da-da-da-da." You're like, oh, she's making it. And then, oh, fuck no.
and it's so subtle and it's so heartbreaking. I love that you brought up the music too, because it's a moment where you're like, oh, it's supposed to be a happy time. And then the Croaker
Yeah.
Queen's getting
Croaker Queen gets knocked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I missed her so
Good
much.
job.
So my next question is, so you're casting for, let's say, whatever book is going into production. I'll let you choose. Okay. Who are you casting? Like, who are you casting? Final girl. Give us the cast.
Okay, Mia Goth has been doing really well lately
Mm-hmm.
in horror. I love her. She can put a
Yes.
lot of emotional weight into her screams and her tears.
Oh yes, she does.
Mia Goth, she would be a good bestie, like a good chase scene, because she can put that emotional weight into it.
Yes.
To pull in the people, and also just because she's very good, Jenna Ortega, she's been doing very well. Samara Weaving, absolutely love her.
Love her so much.
Yeah, I mean, even though she had a tiny part in Scream 6, the way she screamed, I mean, we've heard so many screams over the years. That was visceral, man, that one. Oof, in the
That
alleyway.
sent chills up my spine in the theater. I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as I knew when they announced her, I was like, there's no way that she's going to be like, I knew she was going to be like a Drew Barrymore in that situation, which is sad for us, but that opening scene. Mwah.
Yeah. And she's coming back for Ready or Not too, including Sarah Michelle Gellar, so we're getting a renaissance.
I know.
Sarah Michelle Gellar would be a good one to have in there too. I mean, she hasn't had like a proper fight chase scene in a while. I mean, she's been back with Dexter, and she's doing Ready or Not too soon. But it would be really cool to have some kind of maybe a mother figure in there, because a lot of the times it is a very young ensemble cast, and people care a bit less about the parents or the ones who are not 16, 17-year-olds.
Yes,
so it could
exactly.
have more emotional weight in there, if that makes sense.
It does, yes.
I mean,
And it's nice too. It's nice too because like the horror, like, or the actresses that we grew up with are now in their mother era. So it's nice to see the incorporation of them with the newer horror icons, stars, and have that mashup, because to know that we have Samara Weaving, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Catherine Newton.
Oh yeah, yes. I was thinking about some other ones, and for sure her as well. She'd be very good opening, like the first girl.
Yes, I thought the same thing. She would be such a good like opening kill. Or I would love to see her be like a Brenda in Urban Legends and be the killer, because I think Catherine Newton could slice and dice and be
100%.
perfection at it.
Yeah. That's a very good call. Who would be your favorite male role or roles for slasher?
Oh my goodness. For the younger guys, I like what's his name from Euphoria? God, I know it's Lodi or Aodi. What's his name? The tall, brooding.
No, he's gorgeous. The Australian, I think, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes. And he's in like the new Frankenstein movie. I can't. Everyone's probably screaming as they're listening. They're gonna be like, "It's stop!" But I can't think of him right now.
Saltburn, right? The same guy.
Who is it?
From Saltburn as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So the hot guy. We do apologize, people, for not.
I binge Euphoria. I know, right? I love him. I think he's great, and I love Pedro Pascal. I would love to see him in some.
Jesus.
in some
I
respects in the
mean,
movie. He's just such, and he seems like such a delightful soul. Like he just seems like a genuinely nice guy.
yeah, very
Um,
huggy, very verbal about supporting trans community, which I love with his
mhm,
sister.
yes.
Yeah, that's very, very much needed in Hollywood, well,
Mhm.
anywhere in the world. But it's good that people that have that kind of function embrace that. So yes,
Well,
Mescal, can we include him?
oh, please, please. Like I just the thing is that I'm trying to think of like males, like good, like, and I know that sounds really bad, but I don't. When I think, oh, you know who I loved is Mark Duplass, who played Peach Fuzz in the Creep movies. Did you ever watch any of
Yeah.
those movies?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
I love him
yeah.
because he has that
Mhm.
like that like
Duality of it.
yeah, like even though he's a killer and I know that he has like a plethora of videotapes from killing people, I would still hang out with him. I'd be like, listen, I know it's probably gonna happen, but like, can you make me a smoothie? Can we go for a hike? There's something about him that's so enduring. But it's
Maybe
like,
Jordana keep doing the therapy thing because if you want to hang out with a serial killer,
I
log it
know.
on
It's like,
time.
but I'm like, I think that's it for guys. Who would you go with?
Well, Paul Mescal for sure, but that's probably because have a bit of a or a lot of a crush on him.
Yes.
Um, it would be really cool to have Ryan Phillippe back too.
Ooh, I would love to see him in that.
Hmm.
I'd love
Imagine
to.
just having him and Sarah Michelle Gellar back in the same film, but like not necessarily as partners, but just in the same slasher verse. That would be really cool.
I would love to see that and not have that connection because everyone would be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I've already seen it," but to have it be opposites or
Mother and sister, for example, even or something. Oh,
yes.
mhm.
Who would you cast for the killer? Who would you want to be the
Whoa, that's a rough one. A tough one, a rough one. You go first. Let me think. I'll
Okay, I would say, man, I'm stumped on my own question.
Aha! You're welcome. See, it's not an
I
easy one.
It's not. And when it's on the spot, you're just kind of like, huh, who
Mhm.
would I pick? I would like to see David Howard Thornton not in any costume, like Terrifier, Screambo, any of those things. I'd like to just see him as himself because when he did his little clips of him playing the Joker, I think he's super menacing without it. You know what I mean? And I think he's
Yeah.
fantastic, but I think he'd be a good like neighbor down the road. I keep my eye on you because you're kind of creepy. Do you know what I mean? Like that type of deal.
Yeah, yeah. Because even facial expressions are very minute, and of course, not in the Terrifier. It's comical, but that's he does it very, very well in the Terrifier too.
He does.
Yeah, that's a good call. Oh, it's a tricky one. I
I
think
know.
I'll go for the same answer. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, babe. I know. I like whenever people, and even if I know a question, like if I go on a podcast and someone gives me the questions, I'll still blank because I'm like, what? And then after the question's done, I'll like 10 people will come to mind, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, we might come back to this one later, people. We'll
Yes,
see.
we totally do that. Um, are there any? Has there been any slasher movies that you will not watch, like that have just either no, you have no desire to watch, too much? Like you're a Terrifier fan, right?
Sorry, I am.
Are you? Do you like the Terrifier movies?
I do, definitely, yeah. But that's actually a year ago. I would have said that. That one took me a very long time to watch. I think
Mhm.
because the media was so divisive and it was so much focusing on the splatter or the extreme part that I was like, "Ah, I don't think I'm gonna like it because I'm not that much into gore." But then
Yeah,
once I got into Terrifier, I was really, really pleasantly surprised
love that.
because I think all three of them have a very different vibe to them. As in, like the first one is a bit grimier. Of course, it was lower budget, but it did it in a very, very good way. I think the way it was lit up, it kind of reminded me of some kind of like a Berlin sex club in a way, with the heavy makeup and the blackness. And I'm not never good,
Not talking from experience.
but actually, no. Uh,
I
the
love that though.
second one, there was a lot of like neon, beautiful light, and I remember when the final girl was like looking down right before spoilers. I don't know. Can we?
No, go ahead. Of course you can.
Before
Yes.
she was before she went through a rebirth, if you want to call it that way, with the wings, there were some
Yep.
scenes that were like, oh, it's beautifully shot cinematography.
Yes.
People keep focusing on the gore and everything, and of course, and I get why, because it's so out there. But those moments are the ones that really pulled me in when the lore was going a bit deeper, and you go, okay, what does the father know? What about the sword? There's so much more to it than people give it credit for.
1,000%. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and then the third one feels more comical, I guess, cozy in a very twisted way.
Yes.
So I love that all three of them feel different. So I'm excited what Leon is going to do for the next one or two. He said he didn't really know, right, if it would be one or two stories.
Yeah, he said that it was like big enough where he could split it up,
Mhm.
and he
Mhm.
wasn't sure where he was going. I just hope that we get a finale that's cohesive and that
Mhm.
is, I don't know. I don't want to put like any too many
Yeah.
expectations, because I'm with you. I love all three collectively, and I think everything that you said completely describes it to perfection. 3 was a little outlandish with the comedy, like him meeting Santa. I was dying in the theater. He was so excited.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was so jolly. You know, the best scene, I think. Just him
Yeah.
going like, "Oh my God, the actual Santa," and then actually ending up killing him. But
When he pushes
yeah,
the girls out the way too, like that he didn't even kill them. He's just like, fuck out of here.
oh God, this is Santa. I know. I love that. No, that was really, really good. Yeah, I hope when it comes to the lore that they don't give away all the answers, because that could be very, it's nice to keep some things unanswered. Like the same with Michael Myers, we still don't really know. Is he just a person? Is he, personification of evil, of an entire town that's infected by evil? I like
Yeah.
that about the Terrifier too. We don't really know, and it's good to not really know. So,
I'm with you.
yeah.
I feel like so many people like want plots in movies, and it's like, do we not remember the 80s when there was no plot? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we had like Chopping Mall, we had the most, I love Chopping Mall, but like the most ridiculous scenarioed movies. And
Mhm.
also, and I'm not trying to get too like not but like politically correct. The way that they're like, oh, if you like Terrifier, like they're misogynistic, they hate women, like they kill the it's like we have been in a slasher period since like the 70s. Like Janet Leigh was the first, I mean,
Mhm.
not the first, but like her on-screen kill in Psycho is memorable, and it was a female naked in the 60s. Like that's
Yeah, very phallic with the knife and the nakedness, and yeah.
thank you. So like for me, and I get it, it's not your cup of tea, but I hate being categorized as like I'm a woman hater, or I don't support women, or
Mhm.
like it's this type of thing, because I don't think that at all. I think that art is equal opportunity, and he kills anyone and everyone. He kills kids, he cuts the dicks off dudes, he puts
Exactly.
chainsaws up their butt. Like I don't know. I just don't feel like I
He
don't
loves
see it in that
everyone.
light.
Yeah. And
You
the
know what I
actor,
mean?
I'm sure he's very vocal about being very open to people and being very receptive to openness and everything too. So of course that's reflected in his Art the Clown. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was one that it took me a long time to get into. I think it was only 2, 3 years after, right before the second came out. I was like, I'll give it a go. And I was squeamish, not gonna lie, but I kind of stuck through it, and I'm glad I did. Other than that, I don't like it when there's slashes where they show animals being killed, because I
Same.
have a doggo that I adopted. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't need that, or kids being killed on screen. Doesn't happen very often, but I mean, there's a fine line between, yeah, one are they a teenager, one are they a kid. I get it, but I don't need it unless it's like, for example, it was with Hereditary. I get it because there was an impact to that death scene.
Yes.
Um, it was horrific, but it was kind of needed. And like with the ending of See No Evil, for example, it's like, oh,
Oh my God. That was so brutal. Like that. I rewatched that with my sister-in-law, and I was like, holy shit. Like it was hard to watch as a mom, because I'm sitting there screaming, like I would be punching, I wouldn't even care. And then after I had to sit in silence for like 15 minutes in the dark afterwards, because it sits with you, and it's so like, because it's horrible. So I'm with you. I totally, there are some though, like the mall scene in 3 when he like blows all the kids up with the
but
like,
they don't actually show it when, you know what I mean? Even with
yeah.
the kid in the opening scene in Terrifier 3, you see the after effects, but the actual killing isn't shown. So that still shows that it's not just gratuitous all the time either, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you know one, and I know like I don't want to get too far off topic, but one that really like was, I know like the necessity for it, but it was really hard to watch, was Doctor Sleep.
I
With
don't.
the kid. Did you
No,
see that one? Oh
no, no, no.
gosh.
I haven't. I know which one you're on about, but I haven't watched it. No.
It's
Okay, so I won't go there. I
yeah,
guess.
there's a scene, like if you want to know like the timestamps, do it, because it was so hard to watch and I had to like fast forward it because it was brutal. And it's not like it's gory or it's just like the kid's crying. It's so sad. He's like, it's
Yeah.
but Mike Flanagan though, like I love that man.
Good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's been doing well. So
Yes. Yeah.
all the
Um,
house and stuff. Yeah.
and my last question too of our creation of horror movies in your slasher realm, who would you want to like direct it? Who would you want to have the reins, or who would you want to like visually express your movie?
Well, one of them, and I guess we'll talk about it in a bit with the adaptation, is one that I'm very lucky with that will be directing my series is Maxi Contenti. I'll talk about him after if you want.
Yeah, okay.
And then one can dream, right? Why the heck not? Kevin Williamson, because he's directing now for Scream 7. So if you want to aim high in life and put that out there into the universe, who knows? Never
Yeah.
say no in life. Kevin Williamson for sure, because he has the emotional impact too. He gets there with. I mean, the fact that he's also written Dawson's Creek as well as H2O and The Faculty and everything. You know that he knows how teenagers and how relationships work. So
Yes, he's
yeah.
very well versed in that, and I think that he has solidified his reign as the horror king because Thick was so
Mhm.
good. That felt like a breath of fresh air. That felt very, even though it was modern time with the whole pandemic situation, that
Mhm,
felt
mhm.
very reminiscent of 90s.
The entire chase in the entire film, basically, right? So yeah.
Yes, love and
Mhm.
appreciate that. So, why don't we dive into some of the exciting prospects that are coming up for you? Because I know you have quite a few, and I'm just, this is a spoiler, guys. I'm so excited for Alan to share this with everyone because he
Ah!
deserves it all. I know, it's so exciting that you could actually, is it weird to like be prepping to say this stuff?
Mm, yes, because I'm still thinking what can't I say, but that's fine. Just
Yeah.
ask whatever, and we can always cut things out. It's fine.
Yes. So why don't you just tell us like what you can about what's happening, like what's getting what series is getting adapted, what's to come. Like let us know what you can because we don't want any slaps on the wrist right now.
And exactly, I'll be booted up before it even properly starts. Say Europea Halls, the trilogy, so the boarding school slasher that's set in Europe, yeah, in Brussels,
Mhm.
is being adapted into a series a streamer or streamers. We shall see how that goes. The idea is there will be 8 episodes of about 25-30 minutes per book. So if everything goes well in life and stuff, that means there will be 3 seasons of 8 episodes each. First one being shot in my hometown of Brussels, so I'm very excited about. I've already been to several locations, asked a couple of people, just kind of was like, I just want to be proactive and see what happens. And so far, people have all said yes, you can shoot here, and the fact that you're from Brussels, we'll give a discount and those kind of things because you're also,
A
working here.
hometowner. Yeah.
Really, really fun. So, like for example, the nightclub that I've gone out to for years, which is this old circus called Madame Moustache,
Ooh.
um, we'll be able to film there and have some really cool scenes in there. Some old mansion, this old big townhouse that is now turned into a museum. They have said that they're very excited for us to film, so that's really cool.
Oh my goodness, that's so
Um,
exciting. I'm gonna give like these like squealy expressions because I didn't know any of this, but like it almost makes me want to be emotional. How awesome that like clubs that you went out in,
uh-huh.
you get to like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I love that for you.
It's kind of mad a bit. So for me, it still feels a little bit like because of course we're not there yet. It's still
Right.
developmental, early development phase. So I still wanna, I don't know, not jinx it, or it still feels a little bit like this is happening to someone else. And I think a big reason for that is because I do have a pen name. So when I see things happening with Alan Shivers, I'm like, oh, cool for him. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's me.
That's great. I
So
love
that,
that.
yeah, that's a little bit mad sometimes. Yeah, so the contract with the producers is the option is finalized. Just need to sign it.
Mm.
So they're getting the intellectual property, I guess the way you want to call it. There, that's a production company from Brussels.
Wow.
which is really cool because Belgium is not that big on horror. They are in a very niche way, but not for producing something that's worth millions. They
Mhm.
wouldn't have that kind of. So it's really cool that in my own city, there's a production house that has over 30 years of experience, that they're open to something like this because they haven't done slashes yet. And then know that they know the city, they know, the people that they need to know, I hope.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. And then also that we have, so the director of The Last Matinee, he will be the main director of the series. His name is Maxi Contenti, and he's made a really, really, really good slasher
Mhm.
4 or 5 years ago from Uruguay,
Yep.
set in a cinema. Really, really good practical effects. He has a really good eye for 90s slasher, but still a giallo touch in there as well.
Ooh, I love a
Uh,
good yellow.
Same. So it's going to feel, yeah, contemporary and European, but really using the architecture that we have in Brussels and using these stained glass windows, for example, to have these different type of lighting. Even the mask, I can't say about that yet, but there's going to be specific elements about the mask that are linked to our heritage or our culture in Belgium, and having certain colors that represent these stained glasses is going to be very, very niche and specific, and I'm very excited about that.
Wow, I would be like shitting my pants with excitement. Like that's so cool that you are,
Yeah, I have
and
it.
like
We're only filming up to here, so we're good.
yes. And like a good mask. That's the other thing I was going to bring up was you have to have a good mask. So the fact that you're really putting a lot of thought into it and not just grabbing like a baby doll mask and slapping it on. And I'm not meaning any disrespect to a
No,
baby
no,
doll mask, strangers,
not at all.
but it's good to have your unique, personalized slasher mask. So I love
Yeah,
that.
and that was 100% his idea. I mean, credit where credit's due, that he wanted something, Maxi Contenti, he wanted something that was more Belgian. He's been to Belgium. He's been to the horror film festival called BIF that I went to just 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So he has this connection to Belgium. He loves it. I speak Spanish, so we have this kind. I've been to his city, Montevideo, in Uruguay. So we had these kind of some really weird links. And then one of the producers is from Uruguay. They know each other. Then
Mhm.
some of the posts will be done in Uruguay. So there's this really weird connection between two small countries. Most people don't really know Belgium on a world map, or people would know like Argentina, but not necessarily Uruguay. We're kind of like two underground, un, yeah, countries. So it's kind of
Yep.
cool that that comes together, and there's a special tie that we have as well, history-wise, with films and everything. So yeah, he'll be the director, but there will be other directors too, because it's 8 episodes. One of them, I can't say name, but let's just say that he definitely knows his horror as well. Maybe after recording.
Oh my god! And then we'll have to circle back when that comes out and talk about it.
So yeah, Mexican director. I'm very, very excited to be working with this co-screenwriter called Paul de Vrije. He's from
Mhm.
the Netherlands. He's done a lot over the last years. Really, really good stuff. He's a lovely human being. He's worked a lot on horror games. For example, he's one of the writers of Silent Hill 2.
Oh,
He's the writer of the upcoming FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's. Other things too that he can't say yet. And he's done a lot of series for Amazon, for Netflix.
mm,
Plenty of experience. He doesn't live that far away from me, like 2, 3 hours, and he
that's
came
good.
over. Yeah, he came over like yeah, just a week ago now to hang out in Brussels, to have some meetings, just to get to know each other. And it's really nice to have synergy with someone like that, and have chemistry with a person that
Yes.
you feel safe with, because it is a very vulnerable thing, having your own books being turned into something where it's not just about me anymore, but it's entire group of people who
Yeah.
take this on board. And still a very surreal thing that other people have faith in these little stories that were in here at some point.
Yeah.
So very excited to be working with him. So we'll be co-screenwriters and co-showrunners. So we'll have an impact as well on the audition process and those kind of the creative decisions. So it's really, I'm super grateful for the fact that it's not just my books that are being bought and then I have no input or no say anymore. The
Mhm.
idea, we'll see how things go. Things can always change, of course. But the idea is that I will be there for for multiple aspects of the creation, let's say. So yeah, we're in developmental year this year. So a
I
lot
love
of really exciting stuff.
Well, the great thing about it too is, and I think this is where you kind of like, for me, you have a leg up because you have a book. So you are literally
Mhm.
creating this world, right? And then you
Yeah.
have these amazing horror people and
Yeah.
like writers, directors, producers, everything that have experienced this before, but obviously something they were drawn to you. And I
Hmm.
love that you get to have perspective of someone in that realm and have them have their visions and like their ideas and share that with you. I would be so honored to just have anyone be like, "Oh, hey, why don't we do this? Because I see that, yeah, like this shot being played out like that." I would be like mute
Yeah.
and just being like,
It's
do
really mind blowing. That's why I said it still feels surreal that when even when people that I respect and are good and kind people want to invest in my stories, but also just me as a person. You know,
Mhm.
the personal aspect of it for me is more important than all the rest.
That's
Sounds cheesy maybe, but 100%. If I don't feel safe around people, I wouldn't allow this. So
mhm.
also just the fact that okay, the book is mine. It's 100% mine and always will be, but it's nice to kind of give that away a little bit and let people interpret it as they want and still have my say. But also, I'm completely fine if someone were to say, "Now, let's change this. Let's change this character. Let's change this scene." It's
Yep.
cool because whatever happens, even if I don't know the ending changes or whatever, I'll always have the books. So that's
Yes.
a fun feeling. And I can already tell you because of the fact that it's 8 episodes per book, there will be extra deaths, extra locations within Brussels, some side characters that get a larger story arc. So it's been really, really fun going back to my debut
Yeah.
and kind of, because when you go back to your debut, you go like, oh, I could have done this differently. I'm still very proud of it, but I am hopefully stronger now. So it's
Yes.
nice to go back and kind of revisit how everything started and then delving deeper. And like, for example, there's some characters that only show up in European Halls 3
Mhm.
that we've written now already into like the synopsis of the first season, so that their
Oh,
arc is stronger over time. So that's really fun to play with.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's so cool to like incorporate that aspect of it because some people just have one story and that's it. And then it's like a movie.
Mhm.
You have like so many options and things that you can mess with that I'm sure work together. So that's so exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And also just take the leap from being an author from novels into script writing. It's very, very new, and I'm absolutely in my baby steps there.
Mhm.
But I'm learning. I'm doing a lot of research. I'm getting great help from the co-screenwriter from Paul. He's been very, very nice and being honest about what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
And so we're just very excited to be working together and with the director and the producers and the producer in Uruguay. There's different countries that have shown interest already as well. I can't say that yet, but the nice thing is that it will be a co-production between, I guess, about 4 or maybe even more countries. So that helps when it, hopefully it helps when it comes to funding and getting, different people involved and really making it international.
That's awesome.
And it will be in English, so that's nice too, that it's way easier to reach out, to an international audience, not just in Belgium, for example.
Yeah, but like you are literally like move over Pitbull. You are Mr. Worldwide. Like you you, you are taking over and I love it. Dale. I'm
Yeah,
just I'm
that's a
so
good one.
happy for you. Like I don't mean it, but I just like seeing how happy you are and I know it's like a relief to be able to say it because
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like I'm sure it's like not to be gross, but holding in a fart. You just want to let it out. You just don't want to hold it. You
Get it
just want
right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you have like a sense of relief, I guess you could say. But I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to see like visually how it plays out and the fact
Mhm.
that you have so many iconic horror people again in the process is great. And I also too want to say that I know you're like, oh, I'm a baby at it, but you're
Mhm.
literally growing so much knowledge and you're retaining all of this and it's like passing the torch and then you're going to be super successful and you're going to have all these shows and movies and then you're going to be ushering the new horror authors, so that must be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it is scary, not gonna lie. There's still, again, moments when I'm like, what am I doing here? But I am learning how to just be grateful and not doubt myself all the time because I also don't want to block myself or sabotage myself when good things are coming. In the
Mhm.
beginning, I was a bit like, but now I'm more like, yeah, I'm ready. I just really want to, get ready and write the scripts this year for the episodes. And I've already have some good ideas that I've talked about with Paul and with Maxi, the director and the co-screenwriter, on how to change certain things, make things even more intense,
Yep.
gorier. really
Yes.
used to the city. So yeah, super, super excited, to be honest.
Well, I'm
Let's
here
get
for
cracking. That's how I feel.
yes. And it's funny you say that too, because it's like when good things happen, you always have this sense of like, you feel like I don't deserve it, but
Mhm.
you 1,000% do. And you need to relish in every moment and enjoy it because, you know, we only have this life once and you got to look back at all these memories and be like, holy shit, like I did this.
That's very, very kind. I really appreciate it because that's the thing that I struggle with the most in all vulnerable honesty. It is true. There's certain moments that I step back and I think, because I have met a lot of people that I never thought I would meet. Like even like the writer of Friday the 13th, for example, just having like a 2 hour chat with this guy, you know, Victor Miller, like the fuck, you
I
know?
know. It's so
That was a big
when you
moment.
posted that, I was like jaw on the floor. I'm like two icons together. Like this is what I want to see. This is the content I want to see.
Yeah, those are the moments I'm just super, super grateful for. And that people are actually open, yeah, to
Yeah.
talk and to connect. And we're all horror geeks at the core of it, right? And we're all, yeah, we want to get somewhere with
Yeah.
horror. So at the end of the day, I haven't felt like much arrogance from anyone, to be honest, which is very nice. Also, there are some other people that I've met that are like poof, way up there.
Yeah.
But I was scared talking to them and a bit like nervous, but I even just vocalized it, and that always really helps. I
Mhm.
just said, "Look, I really respect your work. I'm a bit nervous.
Yes.
I didn't want to go like fanboy all the time, but it's better to be honest, like we were saying before, being
Mhm.
authentic."
It is.
So
I think they appreciate that so they don't like not that they would perceive you any differently, but it's good to be like, You are so impactful to me that I'm just a little bit like taken aback by
mhm.
I'm in like the same space
Yeah,
as you. But like again, babe, so well deserved. And I can't wait till we can fast forward to another episode and talk about all your just everything that's happening, what's more to come. And again, we need to get you to the States.
yes, 100%. By the way, I chatted with the co-screenwriter just before we started the podcast, and I told him next time join us, and he's very open to joining us for the next podcast to having a chat with the three of us if we're open to it too.
A
Or with,
1,000%.
yeah,
Yes, you know, I'm open. Let's if we were gonna talk about like a dried up dog turd, I would sit and talk with you. I could come up with content and do a podcast on that. So I'm anytime you want, you just say the word and we're doing it.
yeah. I think like once we're further along the process and there's exciting new, material and stuff, it would be nice to hang out and then you get to meet the other people that are part of that surreal as fuck circle. So
Yeah.
it would be
We can geek out together. We can be like beforehand, I can be messaging you, be like, I'm shitting my pants right now. Oh my God. And then try to be calm, cool, and collective.
yeah, I think you have a great time with both with Paul and Maxi because the way that Maxi talks about his film as well and the way he loves slasher, you'd have a lot in common too. So
I
yeah,
love a good slasher discussion.
so do I love.
All right, love. So why don't we let everyone know where they can find all of your books, they can find you, and of course, I'm going to leave the links when this episode posts so everyone can find you. If you're not following him, what are you doing? Immediately follow button now. But let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, if you want to watch Euro slasher, people start following me. So Alan Shivers with one L, by the way. Alan Shivers, author on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. Most active on Instagram, to be honest, with updates and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Then the ebooks you can find on Amazon. I'm also on Kindle Unlimited, so they're free to read if you have Kindle Unlimited. The paperbacks are on Amazon, but also in any bookshops worldwide. If they don't have it in stock, you can just order them there.
Love that.
And then the hardcover special editions are on Amazon as well. So yes, that's where you can find me, and you can find the books. And if you want to, yeah, read the trilogy before it turns into a series, go read European Halls, the trilogy. Please
Do it
do.
now. Do it. You're gonna be watching it. It's such a short amount of time. I cannot believe I'm saying those words. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm sharing the excitement with you, and thank you for taking the time to hang out with me, babe. I have been looking forward to this. I've missed your face, and
Likewise, 100%, honestly. Yeah.
um, well, wrapping it up, guys. You know what to do. Make sure that you like, make sure you subscribe, and my always closing final words: drink water, be kind to each other, and take care of yourself. So, to everyone listening, cheers.
Cheers to that, babe.
Cheers and good night. Love you all. Mwah.
Bye, people. Thanks for having me, Jordana.
Of course, lovey.